So 14H2 is a continuation of the previous question, 14H1, wherein we fit a model about contraception use among women in Bangladesh, I think, or at least the data set's called Bangladesh. And in that previous model, we looked at the effect of district and whether or not the woman lived in an urban area within the district. Okay, and we found what we found. So you can watch that video for that. And here we are going to embellish that model a little bit by also looking at the effect of how old the women are, with this variable called age-centered, and how many children they have. Yeah, so yeah, so we're going to we're going to do all this, and the first thing we're asked to do is to draw a DAG of these hypothetical relationships, and then build models. It says that we're going to need at least 2 models, but I'm not really sure why. I guess it depends what things you want to test about your model. I'm only using 1 model, and I think that we're doing just fine. But there you go. Okay, so so we need to, well, I should say, if you have not done so already, you need to make sure that you have installed and loaded the Stan and Rethinking packages, which you can do up here with these code blocks up here. Okay. Make sure that you are in R, so you have to go to Runtime, change Runtime type, make sure you're in R. Okay. Okay, having said that, let's get back down to the question. Okay. So first we need to pack all of our variables into our data list. Okay, so we have the same data list as before, but we're also adding age and children. I recognize right away that we're going to have to put priors on these, and I would have no idea where to start putting priors on them, and so right away we're just going to standardize the variables. Okay, so we're supposed to make a DAG of these relationships, and so we can do that with the Daggity package, and then we call forward the Daggity command, and then we just draw our DAG here. Okay, so there's some examples in the book on, how to, kind of the syntax here, and you can, pick specific coordinates or whatever. I just had the coordinates just randomly find themselves, right? So, right. So every time you do it, you might get a slightly different configuration. Okay, but roughly what I am saying, or the basic model, is that age is affecting how many children women have, and how likely they are to use contraception, and also the number of children they have may affect the contraception, and also their location, district, and urbanization. I'm just kind of packing them into location. Okay, and maybe that affects contraception. Okay. So we're going to run the model. So I just have a, so here's the linear part of my model that reflects the DAG, and so this, this first part here is just what we did in the previous question. Okay. And then I have the effect of age, the effect of children, and the interaction between age and children. Okay, so I've ran this, and then we're looking at the pricey output down here. Okay. So let's go through, what may be happening. Okay, so so first of all, so mu A and mu B are referring to the effect of district and urban dwelling. And if you go up to the previous problem, you'll notice that these values are not that different from what we get here in the second problem. Okay, so that's whatever, that's something. But we're going to focus on the new bits of the model, namely the effects of age and children. Okay, so if we go to age, we see something that is a little interesting here, right? Which is that once we control for everything else, as women get older, they're less likely to use contraception. Okay, and there might be a couple of reasons for this. One is maybe as women get older, their fertility decreases, and so it's okay for them not to use contraception. Or maybe, they've had enough experience that they realize that they're not fertile, or something like that, right? So that could be part of it. Um, but it also could be that it depends on, it depends on who's in the data set. But it could also be that as women get older, um, they want they're more likely to want to have children, right? So a very young woman may not want to have children, and then as she gets older and starts to, especially push, the extent of her fertile years, she may have more reason to want to have kids, and so be less likely to use contraception. So all of those things maybe make it make age make after controlling for everything else, make a woman less likely to use contraception. Now we're going to get back to children because we also have this interaction term here, and so if we view it through the lens of age, what this interaction term says is that not only are older women less likely to use contraception, but uh, but that effect is magnified um, when older women already have children. Okay, and so that seems a little bit confusing, maybe. But so as a woman gets older, she's less likely to use contraception if she has children, and the more children she has, the less likely she is to use contraception. And so so that's interesting. So again, this could reflect a few things, right? So again, I think that this may reflect that as women that are older are possibly are more likely to have children and also more likely to be infertile, right? They go into menopause or whatever the case is. It could be that as women have children, there is a number of children that women want, and as they get older, they're trying to build their family, and so they don't want to use contraception because they want more children. Or it could be that this interaction term here just simply reflects a disposition for older women to use, or just reflect a disposition against contraception, right? So older, women that are older and have more children just may have a disposition to not want to use contraception. So, okay, so now we go to children. So we have this positive coefficient, which means that women with more children are more likely to use contraception. Again, this maybe just seems like, family planning, simple family planning. And now if we view the interaction term in terms of children, then it means that that the effect of having children is diminished as women get older. And again, that may be a function of losing fertility or wanting to grow their family or whatever, a disposition against contraception use, etc. So, okay, we'll call that good.